beginning, can you tell me a little bit about your inspiration for this project?
The inspiration for this project comes from a trip that I took with a group of artists this past summer to Tanzania for 6 weeks to teach theater to young children and to devise a theater piece based on some issues or stories we would find as we traveled to perform in Tanzania and also bring back to New York to raise awareness for some of these issues. Yes, I love to talk about it. We were in this village, Maloka, for about 11 days, and within the first few days that we were there, we were invited to a town meeting where members of the town convened, and we got invited to listen to issues that were concerning the people of the town so that we might hear some challenges they're facing and create possibly theater pieces around these if they were interesting to us. One that I connected to very deeply was one by a woman who stood up in the meeting who talked about needing a labor clinic in the village, that there's no labor clinic in the village or nearby, and that when women who are pregnant and go into labor, there's not a safe place for them to give birth. When childbirth goes well and the midwife is able to help and everything goes smoothly, there's no problems, but oftentimes there's complications that they're unaware of without facilities there, and they have to travel to either a village that has a minor facility two towns away or to a major labor clinic hospital with the proper facilities and doctors, which is 6 villages away. Well, something about when she stood up in the meeting really touched me. And she was speaking in Swahili, and I don't speak Swahili. This was through a translator. Something spoke to me about what she had said in that meeting, and I wanted to meet with her if possible and find out more from her. Yes, I did, and she was amazing. Her name is Asha. Through a series of people, a few days later, she was found. They brought her, they found her working in the field, brought her out to meet with me. I started off by asking her, was there some reason, specific reason personal to her, that she stood up in this meeting and felt it so important? Among the other issues that were being raised, mostly by men, was there something personal to her? So it turns out Asha, 8 years ago, was pregnant, and she goes into labor in the village, and the midwife is there to help her give birth. And the birth goes really well. She delivers a beautiful baby girl, no complications, everything's fine. A few minutes later, suddenly everyone realizes another baby is coming. She was pregnant with twins and nobody knew. Not only was this a surprise, but the midwife could tell that there were complications, so they had to get her to a clinic. So they had to first find a vehicle and a driver and pay for gasoline and the driver and the vehicle to get to her to the clinic 2 villages away. They get there, which is about a 2 or 3 hour trip. The doctor there takes a look, says that the complications are pretty severe and that they can't help there. So they need to get her urgently to the labor clinic that is fully equipped, which is another 4 villages away, which is a total of 8 hours away. So they make it to the clinic. She speaks about how it took 6 to 8 hours. It's in the middle of the night, it's dark, she's scared, she's alone. They finally get there like 4 in the morning, and the doctor and the nurse come to help, and it was too late. The second child did not survive. I mean, as you can imagine, sitting there listening to this woman who, with such strength and grace, told this tragic story of what happened to her, we definitely knew in that moment we found the story we needed to tell. Many women, she said to me, and children since her, have not survived. That's a great question. We devised a theater piece called UBINADAMU, which means humanity in Swahili. It's based on Asha's story. Audiences came and saw and were really touched and moved by the piece, and we spoke to a lot of people who said, this is incredible. Is this, did this really happen? Is this a true story? How can we help? Before I left Tanzania, I met with the town elders. They actually started a project to build a labor clinic several years ago, but they didn't raise enough money, and all they were able to do was get about 2 bricks of the foundation put in. They took us to the plot of land where the labor clinic is supposed to go. So they already were trying to make this happen. They put together a budget that lays out not only the materials, but the time it would take, the people it would take, everything that we would need to make this happen. They let me have that. We then spent a few months getting it translated, figuring out, who can help. And we've put a really strong network in place with some of the people that I met when I was there, as well as people within our organization, the Outer Loop, being a nonprofit. We are able to help in ways that can really specifically impact this project.
I saw the performance of UBINADAMU when they brought it back to New York with my mom, and after the piece we were so moved by the story. Michael and I spent the next couple days talking about Asha's story, and we just said, we have to do something. So what do we want to do, and how do we want to do it? How do we make it happen?
For us, there were 2 pieces, and the first was to continue to develop UBINADAMU, develop the theater piece, so we're going to do that. And then the second piece, obviously, is helping build the labor clinic in Maloka, joining Asha and Patrick and the people in the town of Maloka in the actual building project.
And there's a really important piece to mention.
What the government does, once a town raises the money and the materials and gets the labor clinic built, the government actually supplies the doctor and the equipment.
Over those few days after the performance of the piece, we were talking it all through and talking through all the pieces, and I thought, wouldn't it be awesome if we also got married, and instead of having a wedding, we did this. Instead of having people spend money on hotel and travel and a big ceremony thing, we do something simple, and instead we use that union to do this project.
It would be important to communicate exactly how that happened. We're sitting over breakfast at the diner. I was telling the story about doing this, building this labor clinic for Asha.
And I said, so also we should get married.
Like that, exactly like that. Oh yeah, also how's your eggs?
Mm-hmm.
You got, can I have the ketchup? Exactly like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, yeah, we should do that. Decide to give and to help and to support not only each other in our work and our personal lives like we do, but also to others so far away. And we thought, yeah. Nobody actually knew that piece of this. Surprise, Mom and everyone. We thought, what a beautiful way to
use our union to help others.
Because really, that's what it's all about, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, thank you.
Thank you.